Alistair and Claire's son, Hamish McLean, was born with achondroplasia, commonly known as dwarfism. He will have short limbs, especially his upper arms and thighs. For the last 18 months, Hamish has worn a brace. It appears to have corrected the outward curve of his back, which can be common to children with achondroplasia.
All the data suggests that his spinal height is likely to be between 48 and 52 inches.
4 foot.
So 4'2", 4'4", which is shortish. Really? You won't be able to reach the dirty magazines on the top shelf.
You gonna do the dishes, Hamish?
I'm enjoying the moments I have now with Hamish. He doesn't know he has a disability now, so let him live life to the full, you know, because it's going to be hard enough later on.
What's dirty?
What can you put in your trailer?
Go pick the weeds.
Well, the boy's happy to give it to him.
And Hamish was so excited when he saw it in the car, in the back of the car. He was going, tractor, tractor.
It's nice that he's so happy.
Hamish is now 20 months. He is likely to develop other complications, such as loose joints and serious back problems.
I'm very sorry for them both, because you always hope your baby's going to be the most beautiful baby in the world, don't you? We were all upset. I mean, you know, obviously everybody would be, because it's going to be hard for him all through his life, isn't it, really? He's better than a lot of them, but having said that, it's... You know, we'd have preferred him not to be disabled. I hope he will make up for it in intelligence or something else.
He managed to eat around everything, didn't he?
Most people have to wait 30 years before they realise their son's not going to be an international rugby player, but...
You know now.
We probably know that he's probably not going to be.
Well, I'll be able to sail a boat. No reason why I shouldn't sail a boat, is there?
I don't know when he's going to realise. That's one of the things that makes me saddest, is the moment that he realises, you know, that he's different from his pals. That's very sad.
When you're at home, you just take it all as normal, everything that he's doing. And it's only when you start to interact with other children his age, you come face to face with the fact that he is quite a bit shorter than them, and he's not always coping as well with some of the things that they do.
Hamish has started attending the local nursery in Penshurst, Kent. Children much younger are already taller than him.
And they've just coped well with, you know, knowing how to hold him. Now he's in a chair and they've just put a stool next to his chair so he can climb onto that to sit at the table, so that he doesn't have to be lifted in because his peers aren't being lifted into their chairs.
Every 6 months, Hamish's growth is monitored. He's developing normally for a child with achondroplasia, but is already nearly a foot shorter than an average child of his age.
I've struggled with what to call him. Achondroplasia, restricted growth, dwarf. It's an easy way to explain it to somebody saying he's going to be a dwarf, because people feel they understand that.
Okay, we've got 10.8. Okay, all done.
Hello.
Since Hamish was born, Claire has been in contact with Sandy Marshall, who runs the Restricted Growth Association.
This is Hamish. Say hello.
Every year in Britain, between 25 and 30 children are born with achondroplasia. Sandy offers support and advice.
Do you get really frustrated and angry? Or?
I suppose if you have a good day or a bad day, really. I suppose when you go shopping and everything that you want that day is on the top shelf, and where you just sort of get it down, and I have to think, oh, how? I usually try and find some poor soul who will get it down for me. I can't even reach your taps.
Yeah.
So how do you cope with that at
Well,
home?
I've got my sink lowered. That's the only part of the kitchen I've had lowered. But I have, you know these Addis plastic straws?
Oh yes.
We have
yeah,
those
yeah,
strategically placed all around the house. So the world's not built for us, unfortunately. How have you felt with the local people and how they've reacted to Hamish? How's that been?
Yeah, I think people
Yeah.
don't know any different.
And what about your friends and family?
Well, people don't know. The only thing is that people all just think it's short arms and short legs, and they don't realise, as you're aware, the other things.
And
that
he'll grow
you
out of
have.
it. People think because he's small and he's only 22 months, it's only a phase he's going through.
Yes, yeah.
And he'll get bigger.
Like you say, it becomes more noticeable as you get older.
Hamish needs his first pair of proper shoes, but finding any that fit has proved difficult.
Because he's a dwarf, he's got short but very wide feet.
Right.
So, and they have
You're
real...
after sort of like a first shoe for him, something a little bit more structured than perhaps what he's wearing.
Measure your little foot.
Broad foot, hasn't he?
Yeah.
2H. Right, you ready then, Hamish? Right, unfortunately, the only little style I've got in a 2H is actually a girl's style.
Well, I
This
don't really
one.
want him to be wearing little girls' shoes, really. I just feel that he needs to be dressed, like his other little boys at his
Are
crate.
you going to try them then, Hamish?
Wow, they're just girls' shoes, Hamish. Is Mama worried about that? Can you think of any sticker things that you can put over the top? Have you seen anything in any of the shops? I don't know what to do.
The whole business of having children is a huge, big risk, but we all do it and we all love them, and 99% of the time it works out really lovely and really well. And it was just unfortunate for Hamish and for us that Hamish has this condition.
Farmer Hamish.
At 5 months old, William Davis was diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis. TS means that abnormal growths or lesions can form anywhere in the body. In William's case, these lesions are concentrated on the right side of his brain. These lesions interrupt William's normal brain activity and on bad days cause him to have up to 10 fits every hour. He has to wear a helmet to protect his head when he falls. Paula is dedicated to his 24-hour care.
So what about the fits?
They haven't changed drastically, really.
William's parents have been fighting a losing battle to control his fits with 5 different medications.
Aborted spasms, because his head goes to the right like he does just before he goes into a spasm.
He's one little boy. They've tried all the medicines that are useful for his sorts of fits in various combinations, and he responds for about 10 days and then he goes downhill again.
It's a definite nap. It took a fair few times.
Did you want to do that moo again with that one?
No.
No.
The drugs seem to take the edge off his fits, but they never seem to stop them. I think there's only been a few days in the last year where he hasn't had a fit in a day. And there's been the horrific days where he's had 350 in a day.
You're supposed to be doing...
William's only hope now is a major brain operation.
If surgery can give him a temporary respite, then he should gain sort of walking, talking, feeding himself before seizures start again, and hopefully he won't lose that. I mean, he might be seizure-free forever, we can always hope.
William is admitted to Great Ormond Street Hospital. First, he is scanned to identify the exact area in his brain which is causing his fits. Surgeons are going to remove the majority of William's right frontal lobe, where most of his lesions are concentrated.
You'll be all right.
If he's 19 months, if he was having his tonsils out, I'd be terrified. And he's not, he's having major brain surgery.
All right, you just pop him over. That's the way. Yep. Good. Thanks for your help. We'll take good care of him. All right, try not to worry.
It really is a huge milestone in a little man's life. So it really is last hope.
Go.
14.
Go.
It's probably the most horrific thing we've ever been through. You know, handing him over to the surgeon to take a third of his brain out. I don't think the corridors are going to be long enough to pace.
And the brain here just looks generally very abnormal. And then I think that unless we take this bit out, I don't think we're going to do any good for his epilepsy at all. But this area of brain here is essentially going to be removed.
We ended up in Hamleys. We bought him a teddy bear and baseball cap, which would cover his scar as soon as it wasn't so sore that he couldn't wear it.
After an 8-hour operation, Paula and Nick rejoin their son. They know that there is a chance the operation will not work and that William risks major side effects, including the loss of some movement from the left side of his body.
Just gotta wait and see how he does. So the next sort of few days are fairly critical.
Shelby Pate was born with a rare genetic condition called partial trisomy 9p. Her mother Vicky is the carrier. A fault on the 9th chromosome has caused chaos throughout her body. Shelby has chronic lung disease, a hole in her heart, and severe learning difficulties. She is on oxygen 24 hours a day. Vicky's marriage broke down 5 months after Shelby was born. She now juggles the care of Shelby and her 3 older children single-handedly.
Come on, slow coach.
5 years ago, Vicky's second child, Charlie, died of trisomy. Shelby spends months in the same wards at Bristol Children's Hospital. Even a common cold can become life-threatening.
The doctor came in to me and said, we're hanging in the balance now. Shelby's left lung's collapsed, so we're thinking of putting her on life support. You know, we're going to give her 24 hours to see how she goes. I didn't think she was going to pull through. I just got to breaking point. I just thought, I've had enough. I don't want to do any of this anymore. You know, I hated being a mum full stop. I didn't want to do any of it. It wasn't just Shelby. I didn't, just didn't want to be mum. Sometimes you get to a point you just forget who you are. It's, you're just this carer sort of. That's how it felt. I was just her carer day in, day out. But with the support of my friends and family, I sort of got back up on my feet again. Get enough bags for everyone. I want to change.
How much bags?
1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have a bag 5.
1, 2,
I don't.
It's the summer holidays, and Reese, Connor and Courtney are all at home.
We're not getting anywhere with this sitting, are we? Because you cheat, you lie down.
Shelby's health is deteriorating.
She's winning when she's alone.
Despite being on a permanent oxygen supply, her oxygen levels are falling dangerously low.
You bugger.
Running peg.
Shelby is permanently hooked up to a machine that monitors the level of oxygen in her blood, or SATs. This should be in the high 90s. She's in grave danger if it drops to the mid-80s for any period of time, which it has been doing all morning.
This morning, her SATs were going down again to low 90s. So to pick them up, I've had to turn it up to a litre. And I thought if I turn it up to a litre, I can sort of wean it back down. But 1 minute her saturations are 98, and the next minute they're sort of 90. Well, earlier they were 88. But really, if she's on a litre of oxygen, they should be 100%. Can you get my phone again, please?
Vicky is constantly on the phone to the hospital about whether to take Shelby back in.
Daniel's been sent in anyway, so he won't be allowed out to play.
Mum!
I'm on the phone, Con.
I don't want to bring her in anyway. Hang on. If you're going to fight, go and do it outside away from Shelby.
Connor, he seems to blame me and Shelby because he's said a few times, I hate Shelby, I wish you want, I don't want her as my sister. As far as he's concerned, everything is Shelby this, Shelby that, if we're going to do something, it's like, hang on a minute, I've just got to do this with Shelby, or just got to feed Shelby.
I'm just worrying. I don't want to have to bring her back, but when they're sat now are 97, which is quite good. But then earlier they'd gone down to 83 on a good trace.
And obviously, it affects the others as well. I mean, they spent the whole of the summer holidays in the hospital, so it's not much fun for them.
Yeah.
In the mid-afternoon, the hospital tell Vicky to bring Shelby in.
Connor, go and find Reese, please. Quickly. Courtney, quick, come and get your shoes on, please, and some clean pants, quickly.
I'll wear slippers on.
I don't care, you can wear your slippers, just go and get some clean pants on. Find Reese.
I don't want.
I need you to, because I've got to take Shelby to the hospital and you've got to go to Gran, so go and find him.
Vicky's boys have run off. She has to give up looking for them to get to the hospital.
You haven't got the boys because they've done a runner. Grandma's going to keep an eye out for them. I can't find Connor either. She thinks it's only Reese.
Oh, they're from the bikes, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. In you come.
Every time she's ill, I think, well, is this just a little chest infection, or is it going to develop into something more? No matter what she goes in for, whether it's something minor or major, it goes to my head, well, maybe this time her body's not going to want to take anymore.
It doesn't sound like she's too bad. Just probably picked up just a bug from somewhere.
Shelby stabilises in hospital, but her frequent admissions are a concern. Her doctors believe she has a degree of heart failure and put her on a list of children requiring urgent heart and lung investigation. Zoe Frew suffers from arthrogryposis, a very difficult condition to treat. Her joints, particularly her elbows and ankles, are rigid and her limb muscles are withered. For much of her first year, Zoe's feet were manipulated regularly and she spent months in casts in an attempt to straighten them.
Where's the walker?
Amy, grab that top one. Woo! How many bowls are there? There's a bowl missing.
However, the procedures were not as successful as Anne-Marie and Michael had hoped. Zoe now needs an operation.
In about 3 weeks' time, Zoe will be going in for operations on her feet. So I want to give her the best time before she goes in, because for the next 3 months or so, she's not going to have a very nice time whatsoever.
It would be from when she was born that she'd have to have an operation if she was going to walk. You go through points of wanting to go through with it, but at the same time saying, is it going to work? So you kind of in a mixed feelings.
I'm always glad for the other children that are up and walking or doing other things that Zoe can't, but yeah, it still hurts a bit.
She's my baby and I want her to be able to stand. I want her to start teaching her how to walk.
I think there's a small part of Anne that has always blamed herself for the way Zoe was born. And it doesn't matter who, what qualifications they have, where they work, how close to her they are. It doesn't matter who they are that tell her no, that isn't the case. That is something that Anne is always going to carry with her.
There's people with arthrogryposis that are in wheelchairs. There's just no guarantee. Each child is different. Hopefully Zoe will be one of them children that get up and walk, but if she isn't, she isn't. She'll be a para-Olympian instead of a normal Olympian.
Used to people having a go at your feet. And she's very tight at the back here. Very rigid on that side.
It's the first of a series of operations that, if successful, should see Zoe walking unaided.
Every so often it just brings tears to your eyes. I wish I could click my fingers and it would be done. And I could like move on and go to the next stage.
One of the small bones in Zoe's ankle, the talus bone, is in the wrong place. This is partly causing her twisted feet. Once removed, the hope is it will help her feet lie flat.
The bone is pushed right forward, so it's well in the wrong place anyway. There's a rather battered little talus bone, pretty well intact.
Give you a chair first.
The other bones in Zoe's ankle should naturally realign as Zoe's feet heal in plaster over the next 6 weeks.
Mummy's here. There you go.
Stand up, Zoe.
Back home in Tilbury, Anne-Marie has been told that she must get Zoe to stand to exercise her withered muscles.
Girl. Your top's gone AWOL. Come on. I don't want to do too much with her at the minute because of the position of her foot, because I'm sure that it's not too good for her to be standing on her tiptoes. She's not a ballerina yet. Even though she probably could be.
The day has arrived to find out if the operation has been a success.
It's obviously taken its toll on her, and you can't explain anything to her because she's still too little to understand.
How are you?
I'm fine, she's not very happy.
And how are your feet looking?
I mean, they're much better than what they were.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not fair to do it, is it?
That one seems to be straighter than...
I'd like another month of plaster.
It's not as good as I thought it'd be. I was expecting more. I was expecting normal feet, that there's still like an arch on the foot. Do you know what I mean? Like the feet still go like that when they should be like that. I just expected miracles. I was a bit naive, I think.
I expected them to be perfect, normal like mine. That was just me living in Annie's world, where everything turns out peachy in the end. You think, oh, we'll have the operations and then everything will be all right. But it isn't just have the operations and everything will be all right. It's have the operations. Oh my God, then we've got to do physio again every day. She's got to have other stuff to help her stand. And it's the progress that just goes on and on and on, and it will go on and on.
A month after his brain operation, William is back at Great Ormond Street to have his stitches out. His wound is healing well, and his fits have decreased dramatically from an average of 60 to just 10 a day.
Let's get it all off then. Oh God. Now that poor ear.
Go on. Since he's had his surgery, his epilepsy's improved, he is more with it. He doesn't seem to be drastically learning things quicker, but at least he's getting there.
Thanks very
Thanks.
much. Come on then.
Come on in, Mark. Hopefully one day I will be able to teach him to kick a ball properly. Would be good. Maybe even one day take him to the Ipswich soccer schools. That would be good.
Despite his operation, William is still having irregular brain activity, which makes it hard for him to go to sleep at the end of the day.
You're going to wash your face?
He is exceptionally wearing. He's on the go for 18, 19 hours a day, and he doesn't stop. From that point of view, Paula doesn't stop either. It becomes a very long day.
Yeah, we need to clean all 4 of them.
On average, William only sleeps 5 hours a night.
Do you not want the other bit?
Do you want to go naked on the bottom half?
then.
You can hope. You've got all these expensive toys and you want to play with the bottle.
11 o'clock. How long has he been up there?
16 hours and 40 minutes. This morning, he had a... Where do you get your energy from?
3 months after her operation, Zoe is not progressing as doctors had hoped. They had expected that she would be making attempts to stand by now. To encourage this, Anne-Marie is going to be taught how to incorporate standing into play at a week-long intensive physio session at Hammersmith Hospital.
Try to put your splints on them.
Zoe has to wear splints to keep her ankles at a 45-degree angle so that her feet are flat to support her body weight.
You don't like it? Would you prefer yours, do you? No!
She has gone through quite a lot of trauma, but I've seen plenty of other children who've gone through the same thing, who as soon as their operation's off, their casts are on, they want to stand up and they're ready to do that. Taking weight on your feet is the best thing for keeping your feet flat and in the corrected position.
Stand up.
1, 2,
3. Oh! You got 2. Are you ready? Hang on, 5 minutes.
During the week, the gruelling schedule for mother and daughter begins to take its toll.
I don't think none of us would want to be here, though. I think most of us would like to be at home. It just doesn't work out that way. You've done really well. And you're just going to chuck it all away, yeah? Chuck it all away, fair enough. Zoe end up in a wheelchair. Then you'll moan. Especially when you have to stay up in the flat and Mummy can get down the stairs by herself.
There's like a half of me that is like a mummy. Like when Zoe's poorly, I'm the mummy that she needs cuddle, kisses. And I'd love to be like that all the time.
You've just got to get this to activate these. No!
And then there's the other half, which is saying no, cruel to be kind, don't soft talk her, give her a hard time basically, when I don't want to do that. At the moment, it's just killing me to do it. Sorry. I'm just getting more and more down with it and I can't. I just want to be a mum. I don't want to have to do all this. Today when we had the physio around, she was not going to do it. I couldn't give her a cuddle and calm her down. I have to sit her down by herself so she knows that even though she hasn't done wrong, because obviously she doesn't want to do it, she has done wrong because she has to do it. I can't do it for her. I can't make her better. And that's what mums are meant to do. Mums are meant to look after you and keep you safe and make you better when you're poorly, and I can't do it for her.
No, you're not doing it properly, Zoe. Hang on.
Despite the tears, the therapy has been a success. Albeit reluctantly, while supported, Zoe is taking her first steps.
Keep going. No, let her walk a few more steps right before you pick her up.
Oh, good girl. That was very good. Yes.
What do you think?
She's not too happy though.
She's done really well this week. She's done really, really well.
Are you just saying that?
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
Well, open your legs and you stand her and give her a cuddle, Michael. Because if I'm going to be doing all this work and when you've got her, you're not going to do nothing, then we might as well just give up now.
Got to stand up, missus. You stand up for Dad.
I ain't spent a week up here for nothing.
Shelby is back in hospital for a heart and lung investigation. Having her in safe hands gives Vicky the chance of a rare night out with her friends.
How'd you for the night? I'm ready to go.
Actually, I guess from there.
I was giving it. I'm just ringing up about Shelby Peterson, Mum. I was just wondering how she was before. What's her oxygen at now? You are constantly checking your phone to make sure no one has rang, and especially if she's not 100%, you know, you're thinking, oh, what if someone's trying to get in contact and then just not being able to get through because I haven't got reception? It's constantly playing at the back of your mind.
Vicky's mum is babysitting the 3 other children.
I think some days she finds it easier than others. I think there are times when she gets quite down with it all, the responsibility, the hard work, and I think being on her own doesn't help. It'd be nice for her to have somebody who could be there for her, but not just a short-term relationship, you know, something long-term that she can see a future in.
It'll say 2 condoms on them. Oh no, it's got 30.
The next day, Shelby's heart and lung investigation goes ahead. Her heart is found to be stable. The hole in it is not worsening. But doctors make an unwelcome discovery. A tube in her lung is collapsing, preventing oxygen from circulating around her body, making her breathing problems worse. It will have to be carefully monitored over the coming months.
So that's just a more local anaesthetic going down.
Vicky decides it's time to have Shelby christened.
I'll start on antibiotics, but they haven't done any, like, given her anything yet. Vicky Pete.
When Charlie died, I hadn't ever had him dedicated or anything. That was my one regret. So I thought with Shelby, it was like a time bomb. So I thought, well, I'd get her dedicated.
Have a lovely day.
Yep,
Enjoy
we
it,
will.
won't you?
Thank you.
Cheerio, Mum.
We've got everybody waiting for you.
She spent her birthday here and she spent the last 2 Christmases, so it's not a surprise for Shelby. She plans it.
Who's a smart little girl? We're getting her christened today. Who's a smart little girl?
God has made us. God has made Shelby.
Everyone knows when you get an ordinary child dedicated, you just take for granted that they're going to be with you in years to come. But we know with Shelby we're limited.
And I'm sure he can give to Vicky and to her family the strength and the grace to look after Shelby.
Vicky has written a poem for Shelby, which her father reads out.
I'll try to read it. And if she can't walk and talk, I pray that this will be accepted by all and the love she has to give will be returned without ignorance. Sorry. If this child could talk, I'm sure she'd tell you that I will always have my illness. So please love me for who I am and not what you may have wanted me to be.
The other 3 know that Shelby might not live, that she might not make it to adulthood, and, you know, they've pretty much accepted that, so we just sort of enjoy the time we've got with her. Sometimes you just want someone to carry a bit for you, but it doesn't happen.
Last year, Richard and Rachel Spears made the decision to have Emily, in the full knowledge that she would be born with spina bifida. It's a fault in the spinal column in which one or more vertebrae fails to form properly, causing damage to the central nervous system. At 1 hour old, she was taken away from Rachel to have an operation to close the lesion on her spine. The operation was a success, and Emily is now a bright 18-month-old. But in the early months, Rachel suffered from acute postnatal depression.
When she was first born, I struggled a little bit forming some kind of relationship with her. Richard became her main carer, really, rather than me. So I think he probably formed a stronger bond with Emily.
Yeah.
It's getting better now. Well, it's fine now, it's fantastic.
Nan's coming. Nan's coming. Yeah.
Richard and Rachel live in Burnley. Grandparents are close and Richard's mum often steps in to look after Emily.
You want some breakfast? Mummy's coming.
Rachel has now gone back to work. She's a nurse and does 2 night shifts a week.
Hello. Have a kiss. I went back to work when Emily was 6 months, and I think that was a major turning point for me. I was myself again. I wasn't a mummy. I was a nurse. I just seemed to grab all my identity back again, really.
Oh, it's a big girl.
Emily's scar is healing well. Her spina bifida appears relatively mild.
Bend your legs.
However, because of the damage to the lower nerves in her spine that control her bladder and bowels, Emily may suffer from a lifetime of incontinence. Richard and Rachel also know she may have trouble walking.
When you are playing with her and she's crawling around, it is amazing. You do think, you know, my God, we're so lucky. You just get used to her being so normal that you forget, really, that she's got spina bifida. But you think, oh God, yeah, you know, hang on a minute. She does have a problem.
Emily has regular ultrasound checks to monitor if she's developing any kidney and bladder problems. There are none so far. Her neurologist also checks Emily's leg movements.
And what about movement? Is she standing or supporting herself on her legs?
Yeah, she stand up.
You can stand up, baby.
The early signs are good.
Yeah.
Richard and Rachel are planning a second baby. They want to know about the risks of it too having spina bifida.
We did some research recently, and they were saying that it might be genetic now, you know, spina bifida. Because like when we first found out about Emily, they said that, oh, you won't have another child, you know, with spina bifida.
Once you've had one child with spina bifida, the risks of having another child with spina bifida are increased.
Right.
And that means that there must be a genetic linkage there. The only things that have been found are...
When I asked him, and he said yes, that they thought there was a genetic link, just to know that there is a risk that, we, you know, we'd have to go through all this again. I'm actually very upset. I didn't think I were.
Nathan Christie was born with Down syndrome. His parents, Richard and Tracy, only found out when he was 2 weeks old.
Dead.
Although slow to crawl, a lot of his learning difficulties won't be obvious until he's older.
No, that's Mama. That's Mama.
Sit down.
Nathan is now 2 years old.
Sit down. Good boy.
He's been seeing a speech therapist for 18 months. His speech is delayed from the average child, who at this age would know 50 words and be saying simple sentences.
You're clever now. You're learning to use your lips more. We need to get our lips together for good talking, don't we, Nathan?
I think he knows everything what's going on around him. It's just that his speech is just not, you know, he can't sort of bring the speech together yet. But he's just 2. His speech is equal probably to 12 months old or something like that. I mean, he babbles like incessantly. And in his way, he's talking to you, but it's not coherent. So, I know it'll come eventually.
You want some more?
Children with Down syndrome are often taught sign language to help them communicate with the world.
Ready for more? More bubbles?
More! In terms of encouraging him to make a sign, we've got most opportunities with that one word because he can ask for more of lots of things.
I know it's going to take a long time. You can see it's going to take a long, long time. I mean, the stuff that we was talking about in the last session, what we wanted to do, like the sleeping and things like that, it hasn't really picked him up yet.
Where's the key? Yay! Every stage will bring a different sort of, we'll go along and things will change. And I'm not saying that every day we're like really happy, because sometimes it is quite difficult. And you do get a day where you might think, wonder what he'd be like if he didn't have Down syndrome. But the majority of the time, it's just so part of him and part of us that we just, forget about it.
Today is Nathan's first day at nursery.
Who is he? Tracy?
Yeah?
Who is he?
He's in here.
Oh, disappeared. Has he had his thingy bobs breakfast yet?
No.
Let's get inside, come on.
Dishwasher.
Come on.
Breakfast.
Nathan's. It is a very important day for Nathan because it's his first day of going into education.
He's getting his coat.
I know. You getting ready?
I think he must know because he's excited, isn't he? Are you excited? You want to go to the nursery?
Richard and Tracy were keen to get him a place at a nursery that teaches both children with special needs and those of average ability.
When he was first diagnosed as having Down syndrome, I thought, everything was going to be different. He was going to, what nursery would he go to, what school would he go to. But now, because he's going to a mainstream nursery, which is, the least I would have expected for him anyway, now I think our life is normal.
Hi.
Hello.
Tracy.
Hi.
Hi,
Your
I'm
dad.
Richard, yeah.
And this?
Richard.
That's little Nathan.
Nathan, hi.
Yeah.
He's having a look round you. Yes.
I think, the benefits of Nathan going to nursery are the fact that he's with other children his age. And it's just like that independent thing, I can see that he's becoming more separate from me. I can just see the way he's asserting himself a bit more.
James. Good girl.
I think it's good for him to get used to going off, by himself. This is just like the start of the rest of his life. I don't like to get bogged down in thinking that Nathan is going to achieve this or achieve that, or this is what he's going to be like or whatever. I just think he's just going to be whatever he's going to be.
It wasn't like he was,
He wasn't phased at all.
crying or wanting, you know what I mean? So I think he's going to be all right there, and I love the setup and everything, so I'm just glad the first day is over. And tomorrow, start again.
Can you just talk a little bit about his...
It's 6 months since William had part of his brain removed to help his epilepsy. Unfortunately, the initial improvements gained through surgery are deteriorating. Not only are his fits creeping back up, but his movement is being affected.
Would you like a drink of milk, William? And if he stops and smiles, then, half the time we'll get it right. He's had far more left side problems after surgery, which we were warned of. It's not so much weakness, it's a lack of coordination he's got. So often he'll be crawling along and his left arm will completely give way from underneath him and he'll crash to the floor. Or he'll stand on his left leg and it will give way.
There we go.
Paula and Nick try to keep life as normal as possible. Today, William's going to his first football match.
Oh, we go with football. We can see Blue Army.
He can sign goal. He puts one hand in the air and goes, "Way!" if someone scores. So it'd be nice if Ipswich score. And if the other side do, we'll have to grab his hand quickly. To have a child that's basically seriously ill 365 days a year is heartbreaking. You just think, why him? Why us? Why him? Why anyone? Why can't something cure him? But then the reality hits that it can't. We've had to accept that this is our son, this is our son's life.
You're going to count the steps? Count me down.
Now 20 months old, Emily has begun to walk.
3.
Ready?
She's soon to have a brother or sister. Richard and Rachel have discovered they are having a second baby.
Give me 5 on the way past. Hey!
And me?
If there is a problem, it depends on the seriousness of the problem. I don't feel like I felt with Emily. I don't feel there's anything wrong with this child. If somebody turns around to me and says, oh, your child's got spina bifida, obviously I'll be devastated again, and it's just like, oh God, here we go. But
you're very good.
In the next programme, Richard and Rachel prepare for the arrival of their new baby. Zoe needs another operation, but this time her father won't be around.
Michael's decided to go back to his ex-girlfriend, so he's gone.
Nathan finds his new independence more than he can cope with.
okay, you need a hug.
I want to just pick him up and take him out. But that just wouldn't solve nothing, you know.
You're going to end up in a right tangle.
And
aren't
two
you?
children, William and Shelby, face an increasingly uncertain future.
Shelby's been fitting for over an hour. She's in resuscitation, trying to stabilise her now.